Hello, welcome to my kitchen again. I've got a slightly different camera set up today, so it would be really helpful to me if you could tell me if the picture quality is okay, and also if you can hear me. That's always a good start, isn't it? Okay, so quick off the bat, we've got Christine, we've got David, we've got Denise, we've got Justine. Really lovely to see you all here. I mean, I kind of feel like I'm seeing you. Colleen, of course. I feel like I'm seeing you, even though I just kind of see your lovely comments. But yeah, thank you for joining me. Denise is saying picture and quality is perfect and that she can hear me perfectly. Good. That's fantastic, because it's always a little bit worrying when I'm trying something new out and it's live and I can't mess it up, and I'm not the most tech savvy person. I mean, honestly, just give me a bunch of ingredients and a frying pan any day and that would make me very happy. Weirdly, speaking to you guys, I feel like I should have a mask on. That is how much it actually feels like I'm really seeing you guys. I'm like, well, I'm talking to people, I should be wearing a mask. No, it's okay. Right, okay, so we are today making vegan hot wings. Depending on how hot you like it, it can be hot, it can be hot, or it can be hot. I'm sorry, I'm just going to make myself laugh all day. Okay, so Christine has asked a very good question. She says, does it have to be white pepper in the mix? You'll see we have lots of different ingredients here and lots of different spices, and I totally understand that you won't necessarily have all of them in your cupboard. You won't necessarily want to buy all of them either, because what if you don't really like the recipe once you've made it? Totally understand that. There might be some that you don't like in the mix. So I have said that, and you'll see this in the written recipe, which is on the website now, that the spices are optional. So you can play around with them if you want to. You can take away ones that you don't like. Definitely take away any that you're allergic to. We've got mustard in there as an example. Add ones that you do like. Justine, thinking about nutmeg. And so you can really mix it up. This is a recipe that I created that is based on what was meant to be the leaking of the KFC spice mix. Whether it was or not, who knows? But basically, it's kind of based on that recipe, but with my kind of tweaks and me messing around, because I can't leave a recipe alone. So totally up to you guys, but just remember that with this recipe, in the same way with tofu recipes as well, this is where all the flavour is coming from, because jackfruit doesn't really, green immature jackfruit doesn't really have any flavour of its own, but it is really great at sucking up flavours and holding on to flavours, which you will see in this recipe. But really all of the flavour comes from these spices. So what that means really is if you take one away, then add something else or increase the amounts of the other spices that you're using. Okay, so I can see that you guys have been chatty. So let me just see. Okay, great. We've got loads of regulars in the house, in my kitchen. Thank you. If you are new here, then please don't be shy. Everybody is very lovely. So please do say hello and let us know where you're tuning in from. Sometimes we have had people who live in the same state as each other, which has been lovely. Okay, Denise says she's not tech savvy either. I wing it most days. Yeah, that's kind of pretty much my life. It's I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm kind of just doing it. So, and then just fingers crossed. Colleen says very early here. We'll be making this later today in the air fryer. That was a very good point. It's something that I wanted to bring up. I know that Colleen will be able to give her recommendations for anybody who wants to use an air fryer instead of doing it the way that I'm going to do it. I'm going to be baking mine. But you can also fry it as well if you want to, and of course you can air fry it. Justine said rainbows, question mark. We don't have the rainbows these days. They are gone. They were just here, limited edition rainbows, I'm afraid. But now we do actually have the real bow here. But she is at work with Jeff today, hardworking on a computer. That would be so cute. By the way, how's Dobby? Justine, let us know how little Dobby is. Khan is cooking along, and in come the puns. So you're going to cook along and do the puns as well. That's really very good multitasking there. Okay, Denise said that she's going to be trying the air frying method. Okay, and Justine has asked, how is Bo? We should have a Zoom catch up, cook along with everyone cooking. That's a very, very, very good idea. Now, I'm just trying to think of a special occasion that's coming up that we could do that for. The only one I can think of is my birthday. So we could do a special one on my birthday. I mean, I would love to spend my birthday with you guys cooking. Karen is here. She says hello. Paul is in the house. Louise, thank you for joining us. By the way, I'm sorry for not getting back to your message the other day, but I did send you a sunset. So Justine says, yes, say hello, join the crazy community. We have cookies. Okay, so Christine says, anyone else having momentary live feed outages? Okay. Right, I think we may have stumbled upon some technical issues. Guys, please let me know if more people are having those problems, and if a lot of people are having those problems, then I might need to do a quick camera change. Okay, so Colleen is okay. So hopefully it's a Facebook issue rather than me and my fancy different cameras issue, please. Khan says, can we use red pepper flakes instead of cayenne pepper? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. With this recipe, you know, it's a bit of a choose your own adventure. So we've got herbs and spices in there. I like the balance of both. If you just want to put spices in, you don't want to put herbs in, absolutely fine. If you don't like spicy, then remove the cayenne pepper. If you like spicy, you can include the cayenne pepper or add more. You could also use chili pepper instead of the cayenne, totally up to you. And it's really just kind of like you getting a feel for like what are the flavors that you like and that you would want in this recipe. The salt is very, very important, and just having those some herbs and spices in it is very, very needed. You can get vegan like chicken seasoning, so you could just bypass this whole thing and just use that if you want to, and if that floats your boat, that's absolutely fine. Louise says that's okay. The sunset was beautiful, and I knew it meant you were out with Bo, which is wonderful. I wasn't actually out with Bo. Bo is going to work with Jeff on Fridays and Saturdays. So I was doing lots of filming instead and taking lots of pictures of brownies, which is a recipe I will be sharing with you guys on a live show next Friday. It's going to be next Friday. It isn't going to be next Saturday because I have an appointment on the Saturday that I can't get out of, unfortunately. So it's going to have to be the Friday, but it is a fudgy brownie recipe, gluten-free or not gluten-free. Okay, and Justine says Dobby is good. I'll send you guys some photos on the other site. Yes, that would be fantastic. Thank you. I'm sorry, I don't think that you guys can add photos to the comments in here, but it'd be great if you could. I'd love to see some pictures of Dobby. Okay, Natalie says hello, Nubili. Welcome. Where do you recommend getting your jackfruit from, please? And is it jar or tinned? Thanks a million. Oh, very, very polite. Okay, so the jackfruit that I'm using today is actually from Tesco. It's the Plant Chef range, which they have recently slashed the prices of, which is fabulous. I have used quite a few different brands of jackfruit before. So for anybody who isn't familiar with jackfruit, it is this stuff that is, it's pale white, it's immature. It's also known as green jackfruit. I mean, it's got a slight green hue maybe, but I'm just going to bring you guys the overhead camera and we'll see if we can do like a closer up. Where is the camera today? There it is. Hey, there we go. You can see what it's like. So this is like the center part, which is like a bit tougher. And then we've got these bits that are kind of like the fronds. So let me just bring you guys back to the other camera. Right. Okay, and so the different brands of jackfruit, they can be like slightly different. to each other. There are brands that I've tried where the jackfruit is a bit tougher, and also it's sticky. So jackfruit, if you've ever tried to use actual fresh immature jackfruit, you will have had a tricky time like I did, because it is an amazing thing. Like, you know, Google it and, you know, have a look at a picture of, you know, like an actual jackfruit, and it's a very funky looking thing. But when you tear it apart, it actually has this milk that comes from it that is a bit like PVA glue. For people who are in the States, I don't know if you call it PVA glue, maybe you call it school glue, like that type of thing. And it is really sticky. So that's why it can be a bit sticky. And the only thing that will get off that stickiness is oil. So if that is, you know, still on your hands and after dealing with the jackfruit, then that's the only way to get rid of it. If you wash it with just soap and water, it doesn't work. Okay, right. I'm going to answer a few more questions and then we're going to get on to cooking. Khan said, did I hear Chef's Day birthday is coming up? Yeah, 15th of February, so day after Valentine's Day, so we might have to do a cook along, you know, with you guys, or cooking along as a special on my birthday, because I'd love to spend my birthday with you guys. Christine says, are garlic granules okay? Do I need to adjust the amount? Garlic granules are absolutely fine. You don't need to adjust the amount. I would say though, if you are using garlic salt, then just reduce the amount of salt that is in the recipe. Denise says, would like to know how I subscribe to the Circle app. Is there an exact app address I need? This is where I am not tech computer savvy. No worries at all. So for anybody who doesn't know, we've actually set up a private community, which is away from big social, on the Circle app, which is very exciting. And so I think we've got over 300 people in there now. And what it means is that if you don't want to be on social media, you've got a place where you can still come and be social, and we can talk about food and you can ask me questions about your recipes or whatever it is. So there is, if you go to the website, I think that at the top on the menu bar, there's one that says community. I think you can access it that way, but let me know, just DM me on Facebook if you're still having problems, Denise, and I can send you an invite. Okay, so Khan is already at it with the puns. Oh, Connie says that she got her jackfruit at Trader Joe's. Denise said jackfruit is available from Asian stores and supermarkets. Yes, absolutely. Sorry, I went off on a tangent, didn't I? Yeah, so I got mine from Tesco, but you can get it from like health food shops as well. Natalie, whereabouts in the world are you? Because that will help us to give you some more advice about where to get it from. Sri Lankan shops as well. But yes, and Carla said jackfruit is the national fruit of Bangladesh. I did not know that. Okay, and I think that we can get going now. Right, okay, so first of all, we are going to start by making our spice mix. I've got a nice big bowl here. And I'm just going to pop all of the different spices in it. First of all, we've got 1 teaspoon of salt. That is very important. Please don't miss that one out. And then we have 1 teaspoon of dried thyme. It's going to be very neat. Stack all of those. We've got 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika. So quite a lot of smoked paprika. Smoked paprika. There we go. Which is going to give it also like the smoky flavour as well as the paprika flavour. Okay, and half a teaspoon of dried oregano. So we've got a couple of herbs in there. You can change them up. You could use, you know, dried basil, dried tarragon, which I love. You see how I went high pitched there because I love it so much. Dried marjoram. Whatever it is. Okay, and in here we've got half a tablespoon of celery salt. So I really love celery salt. Great for cocktails as well. But yeah, it's a really distinct flavour, but it can be a bit difficult to find. Bizarrely, I did get my celery salt from Tesco. It's Tesco's own brand stuff, which is brilliant. Karen says hello, Natalie, and welcome. See, everyone is so lovely here. Really, really lovely here. And also, you know, if I go off on a tangent and don't quite answer your question, then answer your question too. So, okay, right, in here we have 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, and I didn't get this from anywhere, you know, like a health food shop or anywhere online or anything like that. I actually got my garlic powder from Sainsbury's, which was amazing. So for anybody who isn't in the UK, Sainsbury's is a national supermarket. Half a tablespoon of dried mustard powder. There we go. Quite a lot of white pepper. So we've got 1.5 tablespoons of white pepper. So it is a huge, huge, huge amount. And I must say that if you, if there are some of these ingredients that you don't, some of these spices that you don't really like, just remember there is a lot going on in there. So if a spice is in there, it won't be that dominant because it's balanced out by all of the other spices. Okay, half a tablespoon of ground ginger, and I did, my ground ginger was a little bit lumpy, so I just got the lumps out before I pop that in. There we go, and last but not least, half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. But that's definitely, I would say, like the most kind of like choose your own adventure ingredient that we've got in this recipe, because it's very, very subjective how much spice that you want. Just like, you know, with salt and also with sugar. Okay, so let's just give this a mix, and you'll see that I mix it with a whisk, and it's just because it's a lot easier and it's a lot quicker. I can see that there are like just a few lumps there, so I'm just gonna use my fingers just to get any lumps out. Right, there we go. Right, on to the next thing. Right, now we need to prep the jackfruit, and you might think, well, you know, you just get it out of a can, drain it, and that's it. No, 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 no. Right, jackfruit contains an awful lot of water, so I don't know if you can see that. Right, I'm gonna, there we go, you can see that a bit more. It contains a lot of water, so we really want to get that out, because water will dilute, of course, any flavour that we put with it. So we want it to have as much flavour as possible, because we're already fighting against the fact that jackfruit doesn't have much flavour of its own. So if it already doesn't have much flavour of its own, and then it's got a load of water in it, well, that's just not going to taste great. And I really don't like recipes where you just have flavour on the outside and then none on the inside. So you'll find that sometimes with like tofu or with whole cauliflower, it's very, very common to have a recipe where all of the flavour is on the outside and nothing on the inside. And as you know, like cauliflower is a very, very bland, vegetable. So actually with my cauliflower recipes, which you can find on the website, I actually put stuff inside. So I actually turn the cauliflower upside down and put chilies in it, and whole cloves of garlic and like a spice oil and stuff like that, just to get flavour on the inside. Okay. Oh, it's nice to see you guys chatting. There we go. And I can already feel like my hand's getting a bit sticky from the jackfruit, but yeah, as I said, there are some brands that are really like too sticky, I think, and there are some brands that are just a bit too hard. So this like central part here would just be like really, really tough, and then you end up like having to cut it off because it isn't pleasant to eat. And then, you know, it kind of like reduces the amount of jackfruit by about 50%, which is rubbish. So we're just gonna give this all a good squeeze. Okay, because Christine said, I'm having some feed issues. Did any corn flour go in the mix? No, not yet. It's mentioned in the original invitation, but I can't see it on the screen. We haven't got to that bit yet. We haven't got to that bit yet, so it's just the spices at the moment. There we go. Nearly done. And this is always a really, really, really important step whenever we're making anything with jackfruit. So it's not one that you want to skip at all. But this is just like how with firm tofu, we have to get all that water out from it. There we go. Nearly done. And also, you know, when we're doing this, we can slightly crush the jackfruit, which is a good thing to do anyway, because it means that these fronds, I mean, I don't know if that's like the right word, but that's the word that makes the most sense to me. These fronds will kind of like crumble apart a bit, so you can get more flavour into those. Okay, so now you want to pop your jackfruit on, you know, in a plate or a bowl or a tray or something like that. And then just grab another spoon. We're going to take about a quarter of the spice mix. So we haven't put the corn flour in it yet. We need to hold off on that. Just take about a quarter of it, and you can judge it by eye. It doesn't need to be exact. And we'll just scatter that over the jackfruit. And that's because I want to get some flavour really on the inside. Okay, so now we're going to get our hands involved, and we're really, really, really going to massage that spice mix into the jackfruit. So you really do need to be quite tough on it. And you don't have to be delicate with jackfruit at all. I think the only type of green jackfruit that I've found that was very soft, it was actually canned in brine, and that's not really the type that you tend to see in UK supermarkets these days at all, but that one was very, very soft, and the colour was quite different as well. It was more a kind of like darker beige colour, but this stuff, you know, is quite, you can really massage it in, and they'll mainly keep their shape. They won't just fall apart, but actually if they fall apart a little bit, it's actually quite a good thing. And the reason why is because then we get all of these like odd shapes, which for a start is good, because I think like when we're making food like this, we want to see the irregular, you know, the different shapes. I think that's one of the issues with tofu, is because often with firm tofu we cut it into cubes that can look like quite an unfamiliar shape with food. So I like these irregular shapes, but also when we do cook them, these are the bits that will get really, really crispy and be really, really crunchy, which is absolutely delightful. And that's kind of like one of the main parts of this dish, really, is the texture of it. The texture is like so important. Okay, so now we can cook these straight away, like, or we can just leave them for 15 minutes, or you can even leave them overnight. But we're going to press on with the rest of the recipe. Okay, so let me just see. I think that there's a comment from Denise. She says, it looks like you're using the hard part of the jackfruit. Just want to be sure. Okay, so with the jackfruit, we get the, yes, I'm using like I'm going to come to the overhead camera because I really want you guys to be able to see this. Oh, here we go. Right. Yeah, so we're using this bit, which is harder, but I would say depending on the brand, that can be very hard, or it can be like this. See, I can move it around, so it isn't really tough. But I know what you mean. There are some brands out there where that bit is quite hard and quite, I would say, almost unedible, really. So, you know, I've learned which brands they are, and I go with the ones that where that central part isn't too tough. Okay, let me just bring you back here. There we go. Okay, right, now we can add our corn flour. So in the UK we call it corn flour. I think in the States you call it corn starch. So it's the light white powdery stuff that's used for thickening gravies and sauces and stuff like that. Okay, so we can add that to our bowl here, spices. Just give it a mix. Trying to be ambidextrous here. I always wanted to be ambidextrous. I was a weird child. Right, okay. There we go. Okay, so what we do need to do now is just get our pan. Yeah. We've got a nice wide a nice wide baking tray here. Whenever we are cooking something that needs like a lot of heat to it, we do need to give it a good amount of space. We don't want everything crammed together because then they won't cook to as high a heat basically. So if you're like roasting veggies or making chips or fries, oven fries, then we need a good amount of space. Now I'm going to be using spray oil. I've got coconut oil here because I like the butteriness of it, and you can't taste the coconut flavour in this dish, and I like the fact that it's like a bit buttery, and I think in this type of dish I want that kind of naughtiness to it because I mean that's just the joy of this recipe, isn't it? So I'm going to use this spray oil because then I can really control the amount that is going on there and where it's going on there as well. You guys can fry these if you want to, and you can air fry them too. If you do fry them, then just make sure that the oil is really hot, because if it isn't hot enough, then the oil would just get soaked into the jackfruit and it will be soggy and it won't be very pleasant at all. Okay, so Paul is doing 23 shares of this Facebook Live. That's impressive. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Okay, so now I'll start by, I think I might have to change hands. Oh no, there we go. There we go. See, when I'm cooking, like I try to keep one clean hand, one dirty hand with stuff like this. So now we can just take the bits of jackfruit and we can pop them into the corn flour and spice mix. There we go, and just pop them on there. I should give that a little bit of a bang before I pop it in there, otherwise it's going to be flour everywhere on the baking tray. There we go, and we do want this on a, well, we do want the oven on a really high heat. So I said around 220 degrees Celsius. I'm not sure what that is off the top of my head in Fahrenheit. I know it's gas mark 7 though, so it's very high. And then when we do put it into the oven, we want to put it nearer the top, not the absolute top, but nearer the top. And the same goes for if we're making chips, if we're making oven chips, then I always put them nearer the top because you've got that really intense heat. And I do the same with pizza as well because we want that really intense heat. There we go. And so with this spice mix with the corn flour in it, it does make a bit too much, but it's better to have too much than not enough, basically. So what I do is after, you know, I've used what I need to use for this recipe, I'll put this through a sieve just to make sure that all of the bits of jackfruit, you know, are out of there, and then I can save that spice mix for another time. There we go. And I like making spice mixes ahead of time because it just makes life a lot easier. A lot easier. There we go. Okay, let's just see. Right, we don't have any questions, which is good. We do have a few puns though, which is good to see. But Khan, you should be busy cooking along. So, okay, there we go. And with this recipe, I have tried to rebake it. You know, so after you've eaten whatever you want to eat, and if there are bits left over, once it goes cold, it may not be crispy anymore. particularly if you've done it baked rather than fried. But it will crisp up again when you reheat it. There we go. So you'll see, like, I did need a really big baking tray for this, so that there's ample of space in between them. It may get a bit smoky as well. We're in the oven, just because we've got these bits of flour, you know, the flour and spice mix that's just on the baking tray. That will probably smoke a bit, which is just completely normal. There we go. And then we've got these lovely bits left over. I'll do all of these as well. There we go. So you do really need to get your hands involved in this recipe. I know that there's some of you out there who don't really like doing that, but in a recipe like this, it is needed. Just gonna get the odd bits and pieces and just pop them there. So I'll just give my hands a quick rinse, because we're not quite done yet. Okay. Right, now we need to give them another spray. I'm just gonna have to wipe my hands a little bit more. There we go. There we go. Because now I need to spray, and if my hand's a bit slippy, then I can't spray properly. These things can be a little bit tough, and you have to get like a good angle on it as well. There we go. But basically, I'm just trying to make all of the bits that I can see that are floury darker. So sometimes you have to go in at a bit of an angle. There we go. And during the baking process, we can grab the tray out of the oven, give it a bit of a shimmy around. You know what I mean by that, don't you? And give it another spray. If we see bits that need it, then you can do that throughout the cooking process. So now I'll pop it into my oven. And as if by magic, here is one I made earlier. I did just fake put it in the oven, by the way. The oven isn't actually on. But that's because it's too noisy. It's too noisy for the show. Okay, right. Let me just see if there are any other questions before I taste test this. Okay, so Karen said, I went out for a meal this week and had jackfruit fajitas, which were amazing. They had a great vegan menu in Falkirk. Wow, that sounds lovely. And Paul says, I am outside the circle. What is it like inside the circle? It's brilliant. It's really lovely. It's very, very nice being in a social space where you kind of, you feel like you can totally like let your guard down, which I guess was like how social media started, really. You know, you come in and you're just kind of like, you feel totally okay to be yourself and ask whatever questions you want to ask, and you don't fear that people are gonna, you know, be mean or take it out of context or anything like that. So I really like it for that reason. Okay, right, so lovely, crispy. I love these bits. These are like my favourite bits. Anybody who is in the UK will know what scraps are. I was always a fan of scraps as well, because they're just really lovely and crunchy, and that is like part of the thing that I really, really love. So I'm gonna give this one a taste test. Now I have a couple of sauces that I created to go with this recipe as well. The sauces, there is a reel on Instagram with the sauces, with the recipes for them, but we will put it on the website soon as well. Here we've got a cheese and chive dip, and here we've got a sun-dried tomato and Tabasco kind of ketchup. So it depends like whether you want to cool it down or whether you want to go hotter. I'm going to decide to cool it down. So let's just show you guys the inside. Let me see. Yum! And it does really look like chicken. And they're super tasty. Really, 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 so much taste in that. Yummy. Okay, now I've got it all stuck in my teeth. That's never a good look, is it? Right. Thank you for joining me today. I'm gonna go and sort this out. Do join me next week. It's gonna be Friday, guys, next week, because I have an appointment on Saturday that unfortunately I can't get out of. So Friday, 12 o'clock. Sorry. Excuse me. Friday, 12 o'clock. We're going to be making fudgy brownies. I mean, how could you not come to that? Another veganuary recipe. You know, we're doing like super easy stuff at the moment. Real like crowd pleasers. So check out what ingredients you need and come and cook with me, because that is a really, really super easy one. Really super easy one. Oh, Natalie says thank you for sharing from the UK. Yeah, of course. I'm happy to do so. Okay, Sammy Sam, love the name. It says, how long do you bake them for? Half an hour. I'm sorry if I didn't say that. I got carried away with tasting them. Yeah, around half an hour. It's 220 degrees, so it is quite high. You'll be able to judge it by the crispiness as well. So, you know, your oven might be a little bit cooler than mine or a bit hotter than mine. So you do have to judge it by eye and feel as well. But it's usually around half an hour. Okay, so Paul says, when will the recipe ingredients be posted for next Friday? Now, it's not me that does it. It's actually Freya, and so I don't know if it's already been put out. But I think it might have been. Yeah. So if not yesterday, maybe today or tomorrow, but soon, very, very soon. And it's all really, really easy stuff to get hold of as well. You know, it's like cocoa powder, flour, sugar, oil, vanilla essence. I think that's kind of like pretty much it. Really, really simple. So you won't need to go like digging around any like health food shops or buying anything online. So super easy to get, not just from a supermarket, but probably from like your local Spar. Okay, thank you guys. Please do share any pictures that you have taken of the recipe that you made today. Doesn't have to be this recipe, it could be any recipe. Share it in Circle. It's really, really great for you guys to inspire other people to make stuff as well. Okay, thank you so much, and I will see you not next Saturday, next Friday.